Here's the deal. This game's whack. So, I usually use the ending credits to kind of talk some shit about the game, right? And I think I kind of want to be... I think I kind of want to be real with you guys. I think there's actually something okay about this game. Now, you gotta hear me out, alright? I understand that I'm not allowed to say that because I actually bought the game with my hard-earned dollary dues. Rather than actually rented it like I was supposed to. But I was sick of waiting 2 weeks, and it never showed up, right? So I had to buy it. Now, here's the thing. Having played the first and the second, I don't like this one as much as the other two. The part of it is because there was more meat on the bone on the other two games. It felt like there was more of a coherency to it. This one's really, really overloaded. Yeah, get out of here. This one's really overloaded because they're trying to fit in all these portable games, right? That's really annoying to me. Because there's just so much being shoved in and I don't understand any of it, right? But I kind of get that they just built so much shit on the portable games. And they didn't want to throw it away, I guess. I mean, they wanted to bring it in. It's just like, I don't know. Normally when you make offshoot games, you don't really pull them into the main game, you reference them. But they actually merged all the stories and all the units and all the people, right? So, I don't know. Like, I don't really like that. I actually don't really like it. I think maybe a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans probably think it's great. But I really didn't like it. I felt like it was strange. Oh god, mixed by Skrillex? Oh, Jesus Christ. Our boy Skrillex, huh? Man. In any case, this game has been actually kind of enjoyable. A little bit, though. Despite my complaints about the story. Hold on. This is some sort of a stinger. We're going to check this out. What's happening here? No. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So, here's the deal, right? I just don't think the whole merging of the side stuff was executed well. I mean, if we're being real about it, there is so much that went through on the side games. This entire game was really about cramming that shit in there, and that was the story, just cramming in all the shit from the last few games. Well, rather the last few portable games, the last handful. I mean, there was a lot. They made a lot of, and then they made remixes and shit. Like, there's a ton. So they had to, like, validate all that shit and put it into the main game. I don't really like that, simply because there's so much shit, I couldn't follow it most of the time. It's only until everything resolved that I kind of had a better idea of what was going on. Still, yeah, that's not really what I was... I mean, you know, the thing is they were so focused on wrapping up the story for everything else that they didn't really explore the whole Kairi Sora. It really wasn't much about the original premise of Kingdom Hearts. You know, it's kind of gone now. Because it was just following... This whole game was almost like a Metal Gear Solid 4, you know? It just needed to wrap everything up. Is this just showing shit? Yeah, there's no sound. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing that way. You know, so here's the other thing, right? The bigger thing, the two big things I have a problem with this game, besides the story being so full of all this shit that I don't want to play the portables and deal with. Blocking in this game is really trash. I have not had such a horrible experience trying to block. It's a frustrating mechanic. Frustrating. Absolutely frustrating mechanic. And they didn't make you do it until really the very end bosses. And I hate that. Because you're not used to blocking, you don't want to get used to blocking, but then they make it so that you are reliant on it. And you have to. You have to learn how to block some shit. And it's so hard. This system is just... it's not only miserable to block because blocking doesn't, you just can't do it. You have to wait to do it. You have to wait like a 2 whole seconds to do it. You can't block after blocking, and you can't block after attacking, and you can't block after dashing. Sometimes upwards of 2 or 3 seconds. If you jump, dash, and fall down, you can't block in a lot of scenarios. If you get hit and you recover and you try and block, you will not always get a block out in time. I don't know why. You can mash on block and sometimes it will come out. Other times it just won't. It was impossible. It was impossible to get an actual grasp on how to block in this game. It just felt broken. It never works. It never works the way I want it to or the way it's supposed to. It just doesn't feel good at all. It breaks from the whole flow. I hate blocking in this game. It's almost like it was an afterthought. They just accidentally added a blocking mechanic or some shit. Now, before I start rattling off all the next step that I didn't like. What was the next step I didn't like? Okay, I do. I want to talk about some of the things that I did like. Now, combat outside of blocking was actually kind of fun. That flowing into the environment and bouncing off walls was actually really cool. It wasn't as flow as I wanted it to be, but considering the system in place, it's actually all right. I had a pretty good time. I like the keys. The keyblades are cool. I felt like each one of them was unique enough that, you could probably do a build or something, to really focus on those things. Obviously, it's not an RPG to build with, but, I still thought it was pretty cool. I liked the combat overall. Even though the blocking was trash, I just didn't block, and it worked for 99% of the game. Now, to follow up on what I don't like again, and probably the biggest complaint that I think a lot of people are going to have. The first two are more of my thing. This thing, I think a lot of people are going to agree on. The Disney worlds, the pure Disney worlds, were pretty much garbage. Entangled, or just Tangled, that one was it was actually bad. I mean, it was just a big open forest. You went straight through, and you followed the movie of Tangled, and that was it. Hercules, I'm not sure if that's actually properly Disney. That one was okay. That was an okay world. That actually might have been Disney. That one was okay as an introductory. It didn't follow the story. It followed a unique story, and I liked that. Toy Story was a fantastic world because it followed its own story. It had weird dialogue in it, but it was a cool stage. Very cool. Being small, running around a big toy store, I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. And the way that it changed you into a toy was fantastic. Those were great. This one was great. Monster Incorporated. That was great. Well, I wouldn't say it was great. It was actually pretty good. I liked that you turned into a weird furry, and that it was a story that followed specifically Sora with these guys. I liked it. I thought that was good. Stories that were revolved around Sora and included you were fantastic. But Tangled and the Frozen world, was there another? The Pirates of the Caribbean just followed the movie. Yeah, I mean, I did not like those at all. I mean, the pirate world was visually really cool, but it followed the movie mostly, and so it seemed like Sora was just watching shit happen. That was pretty disappointing. This Frozen one, exact same problem. It was just watching the movie. They literally had a cutscene from the movie in the game, and it had like a watermark or some shit. We didn't see it. I didn't see it, but apparently it's there. So it's like, I think that's probably something a lot of people don't like about it. I think if there's something that people can, objectively say was bad, most of the worlds, or maybe just half, most of the worlds to me felt trash. Even the good worlds were not that enticing. They were just better by comparison. And I think Toy Story was actually good. And the rest of the worlds were pretty trash. Pirates looked cool. I liked the visuals of Pirate. But that was about it. So the world is really a mixed bag, because you got some bad planets, and then you got some kind of okay planets, and then you got a really nice one, which was the Toy Story. And those were done like by Pixar and shit. They were just better. I forgot this one even existed. So it's just some weird shit. overall, my impression of this game is it's probably more for the Kingdom Hearts fans than people who play games, you know? It's a pretty approachable video game, but there's so much in it. And the story's just not really involving Sora in the crew that much. You know, he's a sideliner, you know, Tangled and... mostly Tangled and the Frozen Planet. Those two really stand out as being the ones where Sora was not a factor at all. He talked one time to the main characters, and that was it. He had no play, he had no role, and nothing else. And I kind of sit back like, what was he? Why were we there again? Well, it's because he was trying to wake up or some shit. Power of waking, right? And he never got it. But he had to go through all planets to figure out what it was. Like, I don't know. It really did not hit me well. But overall, I think maybe some people could enjoy the game. In general. I think some general players could enjoy the game. I don't think it's worth 60. For sure, it's not worth 60. But it's a pretty okay game. I mean, it's got some cool combat. I felt it was cool. It's mashy. And, you know, it's definitely heavily mash. But the swords are cool. You get some cool looking stuff out of it. It feels pretty good when things flow through the way you want them to. When you figure out how to bounce off shit, and you kind of time it right, and you bounce, and you get some really interesting feeling combos. And I enjoy that. It's almost like a really shitty Devil May Cry in that sense. Really, like, restricted, heavily focused and forced Devil May Cry gameplay. Without any of the really cool shit that makes that stuff, you know, what's amazing about it. So that was okay. I mean, I'm not too upset about that part. Chatter, what are you doing over there, huh? Oh, you got a treat in your mouth. Oh, little puppy's got a treat. Jeez, he's so happy. Other than that, I mean, yeah. I would not suggest this game for $60, but I don't even really think I would suggest it to people in general because it's just so much about the Kingdom Hearts fans. And again, I can't stress enough how I really don't like how they ham-fisted the portable games into this thing. And they were just like, let's include everything in the main story and wrap it all up, you know? It just got too confusing. It got too much. Like, I didn't like it. And then some of the things weren't really resolved exactly. Like, Venmus has, like, you know, Venmus and Sora have that evil brother who is Shadow or something. It's like, I don't know. Way too confusing. But I'm happy I beat it. I'm happy I played it and beat it for sure. I kind of regret spending $60. But, you know, maybe some DLC will come out and I'll give it another shot, you know? I'm not too opposed to that. It's definitely not my kind of a thing. But I think for general people, it wouldn't go too badly. It's just, you know, you really got to be into Kingdom Hearts to really feel like it's worth that much money. If you can get it on sale, maybe you can have some fun with it, but it really is a heavy Disney thing too. And I wanted to do this because I played the first two, and I'm not really a fan of Disney at all. I've always hated it as a kid. I thought it was just trash. It was trash. I didn't like anything. I just didn't like anything about Disney. I've eased up over the time, you know. And in this, when I played Kingdom Hearts 1, I mean, really the combat took me... I think that's really the one that I really enjoyed. And I thought the story was great too, but it was, I don't know, it felt like there was more Final Fantasy-ism to the earlier ones. This one, the story still retained enough Square Enix that I liked it, but, you know, we don't even have Final Fantasy character guest stars, you know? We had Cloud Strife statue and Aaron or statue or something, like, and that was it. We didn't really get any guest appearances. That's something I really liked about the other ones. And you know, it's not so bad. I mean, overall, it's not too bad a game. I think it was all right. Let's check out whatever this weird